Welcome to the deep dive. We peel back the layers of the story, getting right to the heart of the matter. Today, we're digging into a case out of Mansoura, Egypt. It went cold for 7 years. A really long time. And it was all driven by something investigators eventually termed a sleeping vendetta. It's quite a chilling concept.
It really is. A vendetta that lies dormant, waiting.
We're going to trace how this hidden violence, something that happened years before, could just explode into such a brutal, calculated murder.
It's a tragic story, and it tells you a lot about how trauma can fester.
Okay, let's set the scene. It's summer 2015 Mansoura. Imagine that intense Egyptian heat, heavy air pressing down on this ordinary residential building. But then something breaks the quiet. A smell, an absolutely unbearable stench that neighbors start reporting. It's coming from a third-floor apartment. A woman named Asmaa lived there.
Right, so when the police arrive and gain entry, the first thing they note is, well, it's strange. The door is completely intact.
No forced entry.
None at all. No broken lock, no splintered wood. So immediately you're thinking, this probably wasn't a random break-in.
Okay.
But then they step inside, and the smell hits them full force. And the hallway, it's disturbed. Clear signs of a struggle, maybe even some initial subtle signs of theft. It just doesn't match the undisturbed door.
And then they find her, Asmaa. She was 41, unmarried, living alone. Apparently, she relied on her late father's pension. They found her body on the main bedroom bed. And the scene was just horrific.
Deeply disturbing.
Did creep.
Naked, surrounded by blood, multiple stab wounds, and a really severe head injury.
So the very first thought, looking at that surface level, must have been robbery, right? A robbery that went terribly wrong.
That's the initial impression, yes.
Yeah.
But almost immediately, things start to conflict with that theory. People who knew Asmaa described her as, well, very quiet.
Kept to herself.
Exactly. Respectful, isolated. Her life just didn't present any obvious leads, no known enemies, no disputes anyone could point to. It made the sheer brutality seem misplaced somehow. Deepened the mystery right away.
Okay, let's unpack this initial phase then. Because the crime scene itself was baffling, wasn't it? Especially the cleanup.
Oh, absolutely. That's where the robbery theory really starts to unravel.
Despite the obvious violence of the attack, the perpetrator took the time to clean up a significant amount of blood,
Okay.
particularly in the living room area. It was methodical.
Highly organized.
Yeah.
Which is completely counterintuitive if this was a panicked thief, right?
Exactly. Why stick around and meticulously clean if you're just trying to grab valuables and run? It suggests someone who felt comfortable there.
Comfortable and, crucially, had time. Uninterrupted time. Maybe someone familiar with the place who knew they wouldn't be disturbed.
Yeah, that feels planned, personal.
And the physical evidence, or lack thereof, backs that up. The crime lab's initial report confirmed the struggle likely started near the entrance, in the hallway or living area.
Right.
But Asmaa's body was found in the bedroom, so she was moved after the initial attack. Again, that takes time and effort.
And suggests control over the scene.
Complete control. And then there's the lack of fingerprints. No foreign prints found anywhere. And the murder weapons, both the knife and whatever caused the head trauma, were gone.
So a thorough cleanup, moving the body, removing weapons. This feels less like panic and more like covering tracks.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Like a calculated effort to mask something intensely personal.
And then the medical examiner's report lands. And it just blows the simple robbery idea completely out of the water.
It really does. The details are stark. Asmaa had 4 stab wounds, yes, chest and abdomen.
Okay.
The actual cause of death wasn't the stabbing. It was blunt force trauma to the skull. A heavy, hard object was used.
Yeah.
A brutal final blow.
Wow.
And then came the details that shifted everything. Evidence of binding contusions on her wrists and legs.
She's tied up.
It appears so. And the most disturbing finding, she was sexually assaulted. But crucially, the assault happened post-mortem, after she was already dead.
Post-mortem. Okay, that changes the entire narrative. Binding post-mortem assault. This isn't about money anymore, is it?
Not primarily, no. It points towards something much darker. Ritualistic, perhaps?
Yeah.
Definitely personal degradation.
So why stage it like a robbery? Her mobile phone was missing. Some gold jewelry, about 6,000 Egyptian pounds. Why take those if the real motive was this violation?
That's the question that stumped investigators. It's this bizarre mix. You have the calculated cleanup, the removal of evidence like a professional.
Right.
But then you have this extreme, intimate violence and post-mortem act that speaks to intense rage or a very specific twisted motive. The planning versus the passion.
It's a total contradiction.
Completely.
Mhm.
And with no weapon, no prints, no witnesses, and this confusing mix of motives, the investigation just hit a wall. After 5 days of intense work, they had nothing concrete.
So the case stalls?
Stalls hard.
Oh.
It's formally filed against person or persons unknown. And just like that, the murderer of Asmaa goes cold.
For 7 years, the file gathers dust. The memory perhaps fades for the public. But the secret doesn't die.
7 years is an incredibly long time to carry something like that. Imagine the psychological weight. The silence. Especially living in that same area.
That pressure must build.
Inevitably.
Yeah.
And in 2022, that silence finally cracks. Not through forensics or a new lead, but a phone call.
An anonymous call.
Yes, from someone identifying themselves only as a good Samaritan.
Okay, what did they say?
This caller claimed they'd overheard something deeply disturbing. A young man, distraught, confiding in a relative.
Confiding about what?
Admitting he'd been involved in a murder 7 years earlier. He mentioned an assault as part of it. And he said he was haunted, constantly seeing the victim's face.
Wow. And the details he mentioned?
They matched the specifics of Asmaa's case perfectly. The time frame, the nature of the crime, including the assault. It was too close to be a coincidence.
So the police follow this lead?
Immediately. The tip points them towards a young man named Karim. He's 27 by now, working in a local cafe.
And Karim leads them where?
To his close relative and confidant, Ahmed. Also 27, also working at the same cafe. But here's the piece that clicks everything into place.
What's that?
Ahmed's address. He lived with his family on the 5th floor of Asmaa's building.
Wait, the 5th floor. Same building.
The very same building.
Yeah.
2 floors directly above where Asmaa was murdered.
Okay, that changes everything. That's the access, that's the familiarity, that's how they could operate without suspicion.
It provides the perfect logistical explanation. Easy entry, familiarity with the layout, a place to retreat to clean up immediately afterwards, and the ability to just melt back into the building's daily life.
The killer wasn't a stranger, he was a neighbor, living right there for 7 years.
Exactly.
So Karim and Ahmed are arrested, and they confess.
Immediately. Both of them.
Yeah.
And the motive they reveal isn't robbery, despite the few items taken. It is, as the investigators suspected it might be, rooted in the past. They call it a sleeping vendetta.
A sleeping vendetta. To understand that, we have to go back much further, don't we? Way before 2015.
We do. We need to rewind 18 years from that confession. Back to 2004.
What happened in 2004?
Well, back then, Ahmed was just a boy, 9 years old. And his family was close with Asmaa's family, particularly her father.
Asmaa's father.
Yes, Professor Ahmed Radwan. He was apparently a highly respected Arabic teacher in the community. He even gave lessons to young Ahmed and his sister, sometimes for free. They were neighbors living in the same building. There was trust there.
Okay, so a respected teacher, close families. Where does the vendetta come in?
It stems from a single traumatic incident that young Ahmed witnessed. During one of these lessons, Professor Radwan went into the kitchen with Ahmed's mother. Ahmed, just 9 years old, heard a sound. A muffled scream from the kitchen. He went to the door.
Oh, no.
And he saw Professor Radwan attempting to sexually assault his mother. She was fighting him off, terrified.
He saw that at 9 years old.
He saw it. His mother managed to fight Radwan off, and the professor fled the apartment immediately. But the damage was done. The potential for scandal was huge.
So what happened then? Did they report it?
No. That's the critical part. Ahmed's mother, desperate to avoid shame and protect the family's reputation, especially from her husband, made her 9-year-old son promise.
Promise what?
Absolute silence. He was forbidden from telling anyone, especially his father. He had to bury what he saw.
That's an impossible burden for a child, to witness that violence and then be forced into silence.
An unbearable weight. And Ahmed carried it. That image, that secret. It festered inside him for years. 11 years, in fact.
So by 2014, he's 20 years old. What happens to that buried trauma?
It hadn't disappeared. It had warped into this intense fixation. He became obsessed with getting revenge against Professor Radwan for what he did to his mother.
He planned to confront him.
It seems that was the intention. But before Ahmed could act, Professor Radwan fell ill and died.
So the target of his revenge was gone.
Gone. And for a brief moment, Ahmed apparently felt maybe a sense of closure, like fate had intervened. He considered the matter settled.
But it wasn't settled, was it? The trauma was still there.
Exactly. That's the insidious nature of this kind of trauma. It doesn't just vanish because the original source is gone. The perceived debt, the stain on his mother's honor, the violation he witnessed. It was too deep.
So if he couldn't get revenge on the father...
The vengeance, that burning need for retribution, it redirected itself. It latched on the closest available person connected to the professor, his daughter, Asmaa.
But she was completely innocent in all this.
Completely. But in Ahmed's distorted view, shaped by years of silent trauma, she had to pay the price for her father's crime. A crime she likely knew nothing about.
It's horrific logic. So he decides to target Asmaa, but he needs help.
Yes. Ahmed felt he wasn't physically strong enough to overpower Asmaa on his own. Remember, he was 20, she was 41. So he recruited help.
Karim, his relative from the cafe.
Right. He explained the whole backstory to Karim the assault in 2004, the years of silence, the need for revenge.
And Karim agreed. What was his motivation?
This is a key difference. Karim wasn't driven by the same vengeful fire as Ahmed. His motivation seems truly transactional. Profit.
So, what was the deal?
Ahmed needed help subduing and silencing Asmaa. The plan involved murder and assault. In return for his help, Karim would get the spoils, any cash, the gold, whatever they could find.
So one driven by a twisted sense of justice, the other by greed.
A lethal combination. And they began to plan.
This wasn't spontaneous then.
Not at all. Remember the organized cleanup? That planning started much earlier. They staked out Asma's movements for 10 days, learning her routine.
And then they made their move.
Yes. They waited for her to return home, ambushed her right at her apartment door, and forced her inside.
What happened then? Did he just attack her?
No. According to the confession, Ahmed first confronted her. He actually told her why this was happening, that this was payback for what her father did years ago.
He told her that, confronted her with this past she probably didn't even know.
Apparently so. But Asmaa fought back. She struggled, tried to scream for help, and that's when Ahmed panicked.
The plan changed.
The sequence changed. The initial intent might have been assault first, then murder to ensure silence. But her resistance triggered something. Ahmed's panic, maybe the rage boiling over. He shifted immediately to murder.
How?
He stabbed her multiple times. Then, in the struggle, a wooden table apparently broke. He grabbed a piece of it,
The blunt object.
and used it to deliver that fatal blow to her head, the cause of death.
And after she was dead?
After the violence, after the silencing, Ahmed moved her body to the bedroom. And it was then, after she was dead, that he committed the post-mortem sexual assault.
Fulfilling that debt in his mind.
That seems to be how he rationalized it. A final act of retribution against the father, inflicted upon the daughter, settling the score for the shame he carried since he was 9.
While all this horror is unfolding with Ahmed, what's Karim doing?
Karim is sticking to his part of the bargain. He's pragmatic, he searches the apartment, finds the 6,000 pounds, the gold, Asma's mobile phone, just taking the payment.
And then the cleanup.
Then the meticulous cleanup we discussed earlier. They dealt with the blood in the hallway and living area, bagged the weapons, the knife, the broken table piece.
And escaped.
Easily. Up 2 flights of stairs to Ahmed's family apartment on the 5th floor. They cleaned themselves up there, disposed of the evidence bag far away from the building later on, and then silence.
A chillingly effective plan, executed and covered up for 7 years.
Physically, yes, but psychologically. That silence was deafening. Ahmed might have felt some initial twisted relief, thinking he'd achieved justice.
But it didn't last.
Not at all. Both men confessed to living in a constant state of torment for those 7 years. Haunted. Asma's face, the sounds, the memory. It became unbearable.
Which ultimately led to Karim breaking down.
Exactly. Karim's confession to his relative, overheard by the Good Samaritan, was the direct result of that 7-year psychological nightmare. He couldn't carry it anymore.
And importantly, the later police investigation actually corroborated Ahmed's story about the 2004 incident, didn't it? They found evidence supporting his account of witnessing the attempted assault on his mother.
Yes, which anchors the motive firmly in that childhood trauma and the subsequent forced silence. It wasn't a fabrication to justify the murder, it was the real poisonous root of it all.
So Ahmed and Karim were arrested, they confessed, they were brought to trial. The case is technically closed, although the final judicial outcome wasn't clear at the time of reporting.
But the story itself leaves us with so much. The devastating ripple effect of trauma, especially on a child.
Asmaa paid the ultimate price. Completely innocent, yet sacrificed for a crime committed by her father nearly 2 decades earlier, a crime likely forgotten by almost everyone except the boy who witnessed it.
It really makes you think about the power of secrets, doesn't it? And the damage caused when a child sees something terrible and is told, you must never speak of this. That silence didn't protect anyone. It just incubated violence.
Never underestimate what a 9-year-old sees and what happens when they're forced to carry it alone.
Absolutely.
So a final thought for you to consider. We talk about the sleeping vendetta, but looking at the cost Asma's life, The 7 years of torment for Ahmed and Karim that led to their own downfall, did the vendetta truly find its conclusion? Or did it just end up consuming the very people who set it in motion long before the law ever caught up?